And my favorite animated movie of all time is, of course,
Mr. Incredible.
Bon Voyage. And Incrediboy.
Incredible?
It's The Incredibles. It's the fucking Incredibles, dude. They live up to their name. It is my favorite animated movie. It's one of my favorite movies ever. It's just, I can watch it anytime. It's one of the only movies that like I can watch and never be bored of. I've never tried watching it more than once in a row, but it was just when Pixar was at its prime. Like, do you remember 2014 MCU? Like when we got Guardians of the Galaxy and The Winter Soldier and like, I don't know what else came out around that time. I guess Age of Ultron isn't necessarily like peak MCU, but it was like anytime a new movie would come out, you would stay for the end credit scene because you were like, this could be legit hype. Yeah. And it made Captain America. It was like, that's the mid 2000s for Pixar. It was just like every fucking movie that came out between Toy Story and like 2010 was just banger after banger, dude. And it was like they could do no wrong. And I feel like The Incredibles was just like peak Pixar. Enjoy the plosives on peak Pixar. Mm-hmm. Two big ass P's. It was. So if you haven't heard about The Incredibles, it's a superhero movie, but it's a superhero movie about superheroes past their prime and getting asked to join the fray again. And it takes a look at what happens to superheroes like when they retire, or like, you know, a realistic take on what if superheroes lived in our world. And there's a scene in the beginning where Mr. Incredible saves a dude who is trying to commit suicide by jumping off of a building. And then the dude sues him because he's like, I didn't ask to be saved. That's what I wanted to do. And he has like a broken neck in court. And so it's a movie that asks the question, you know, like, what makes us super? And I don't know. It's just full of iconic scenes and lines. Obviously, you have the Frozone bits. The where is my supersuit scene. Mm-hmm. You have Mr. Incredible lifting up the car in the driveway and the kid on the tricycle. He's like, and what are you waiting for? And he's like, I don't know.
Something cool, I guess.
Yeah, and he like shrinks in his little tricycle. It even has like iconic scenes in its bonus, like the straight to DVD. Do you remember when they would come out with like little bonus movies like on the DVD? And there was the one where Syndrome. It takes place in the movie, but it's not like a part of the movie, where he goes to the house to like kidnap Jack. And he comes up to the front door, and the Darla, I think, the babysitter, she answers the door and she sees it's him, and she sees the big S on his chest, and she's like, what does the S stand for? And he's like,
sitter. Yeah, babysitter. I couldn't go around with the big BS on my chest. Obviously, you know why.
Just the meme of him going like, sitter. Like, even the fucking bonus content is exquisite for The Incredibles. It's got Elastigirl. Dude, Elastigirl awakened so many feelings inside me as a kid. The scene, some of the action in this animated movie for families is better than action in like 90% of like big budget Hollywood movies. Like the scene where they're all in the jungle and they're letting loose with their powers, and you see Dash run away from two of Syndrome's henchmen, and they're in these like Star Wars like pod, you know, like floating, you know, vehicles or whatever, and it's like a chase scene, but it's with like a speedster, and I'd never seen that before, and it made me want to have superpowers. And they were like the first like kids that I ever saw with superpowers. Yeah, dude, I fucking love this movie. And the music, the fucking music in The Incredibles. So if you don't know Michael Giacchino, you're lying to yourself. Of course you know who Michael Giacchino is. He's the composer for this movie and like so many other movies and shows that have amazing soundtrack. He did the soundtrack for Up, which he won an Academy Award for. He did the music for Lost. He did Ratatouille. He did Spider-Man Homecoming. He's done like 7 MCU movies. Yeah, he's just everywhere. And the big band music that they had in The Incredibles kind of, it sets this tone of like a throwback to old superhero. I don't know. It was like, I don't know how to describe it, but it feels very spy thriller noir. Yeah, noir. I almost said espionage and noir, and it was nuage.
Noir.
We can make that. We can make that a word.
Nuage.
Nuage. Yeah, it's just this big spy thriller, like ba-na, ba-na, and then like some dude on the hand drum doing, you know, and then the opening scene where Mr. Incredible is in his heyday, and they play the ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. It's just, I'm getting goosebumps talking about this movie. You got to talk about it before I explode out of my seat.
I also really like this movie. Dude, do you remember our trampoline bit?
Yeah, I do. I do remember our Bob catch me or throw me.
Bob throw me.
So there's a scene towards the end of the movie where Syndrome, the bad guy, kidnaps their baby Jack Jack and flies into the air. And they're like, and this is after you think the movie is over and they beat the bad guy. And so the whole family on the ground doesn't know what to do. And Mr. Incredible is like about to throw a car, and you know, Mrs. Elastigirl is like, no, you're gonna hit the fucking baby, dumbass. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And then she's like, Bob, throw me. And then he throws her into the air, and then she catches the baby and parachutes down. But when we were younger,
we're like 10 years old on my trampoline.
Yeah,
because this movie came out like 2004, I think.
Yeah,
and we made up the alternate ending of Bob, throw me. Throws her. She's like, shit, I missed. And then
baby comes crashing onto the... And obviously, we had to pretend to also be the baby. So we would do that technique where you would have one person jump and then one person land.
Yeah, super bounce.
Yeah, we would super bounce, and then the person playing Jack Jack would like fall and like flail their arms and legs and just like splat on the trampoline.
Man, what
it
a
was
classic. Awesome. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Jack Jack Attack, because that's my favorite part of the whole experience is that short film. Dude, me and my siblings, we would like die laughing at the hijinks that the Jack would ensue in that little short.
Yeah. Well, because he has like a million powers.
Yeah.
And so you get to see this babysitter try to like keep him on a leash the whole time. And it's just, it's hijinks. It's exactly what you said it was. He gets into so many different shenanigans, and I'm gonna pistol whip the next person that says the word shenanigans. It's a wrong movie. Very different movie. Yeah, and also I think Pixar is known for making movies that will make people very emotional. I know Toy Story 3 and Inside Out and a lot of the newer movies were made, even like Finding Nemo, have scenes that are genetically created to make people cry. And for a while, I didn't think that The Incredibles had moments like this. But I go back and I watch it as an adult, and I think that's really where it hits. Because I don't have kids, but there's a scene in the cave where Elastigirl, Violet, and Dash come to save Mr. Incredible. And she has a heart-to-heart with her kids, and she's like, because they're so excited. They're so excited to use their powers. They've never used their powers like to their extent before. And so they're both really stoked. And then Elastigirl, like as a mom, she's like, listen, these men are going to try to kill you. Right. And she like very serious conversation for these kids. And that always gets me. And then there's a scene right before the final battle where for a long part of the movie, Syndrome leads Mr. Incredible to believe that he killed his wife and kids because they're in a plane and they're coming towards the island, and Mr. Incredible hears their distress signal from the room where he's like captured in. And so he hears the plane go down and he assumes that they're dead. And so when he sees them on the island again, he's like so happy. And then they get back to the mainland to fight the big robot at the end of the movie. And then the marital spats in this movie between, Helen and Bob, very realistic. And then there's a moment where they're like yelling at each other and the tension goes up, 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 and then Helen is like, "Why won't you let us help you?" And then Bob is like, "I don't want to lose you again." And he like grabs her by like the shoulders, and then like, you know, I don't know, man. It gets me. It's awesome. The fucking. Also, side note, do you know the scene where Bob comes home after the burning building comes down and Helen is sitting in the chair and she turns around and they have that whole thing?
Yeah.
Did you see the video with the 2 Sonic voice actors reenacting that scene?
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Yeah. You look like you were about to say something and I interrupted.
I would say good job, Brad Bird.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, he also did the Iron Giant, which I don't think I ever watched, or I don't remember watching. But everyone, I recently saw a video on TikTok of someone like rediscovering that movie, and I think I got to give it a shot.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I remember watching it not too long ago.
It was like it came out in '92, I think, or it was before. It must have been before we were born. I think it was like early animation. It was before he was Disney. Because I think that was made by Warner Brothers, and Vin Diesel plays the Iron Giant, big old robot. So yeah, man, I don't know. One of these days we're gonna rank all of the Pixar movies, but that day is not yet happened.
Wow, it's gonna be a hell of a video. It's like what 20 plus of these movies.
Yeah, we're gonna have to rewatch all of them again. Because we did it once, and it was years ago.
Well, all the ones I didn't see.
All the ones you didn't see, at least, yeah.
Because there was, a while ago, there was like 6 or 7 movies I haven't seen ever. So
yeah,
I watched all those. And yeah, none of them were super great. It's
I liked A Bug's Life, though. And Ratatouille fucking rips.
Yeah, Bug's Life, Jesus. Yeah, that was the only time I ever seen that one.
Yeah. It holds up. I feel like Pixar was definitely trying to find their footing in like the comedy and like the balance, you know, the crafting of the story. Whatever word I'm trying to find.
It's a good balance.
Yeah, they're trying to find a good balance. So yeah, but if you haven't seen The Incredibles yet, because it's one of the only Pixar movies with human characters and not, you know, what if a car came to life, or what if toys were alive, or what if emotions were alive?
What if people were alive?
Yeah, this movie answers that question. What if people were alive? Yeah, go check it out. It's got an all-star cast. I don't remember any of the main cast, but Samuel L. Jackson plays Frozone, and Jason Lee from the My Name Is Earl and Alvin and the Chipmunks plays Syndrome. Yeah.
Mike from Breaking Bad plays the detective guy.
That's right. Yeah. I think that's in the second one, because I think
he's in. I know he's in the short film at least.
Okay, well, because I think after the first one, the original actor died. Because I remember when the second one came out, they had there was a story that I read where they had to like replace the voice actor for the detective. And even though he was only in one scene with them by the pool when they were doing the, the supers thing. Either way, it's cool that Mike from Breaking Bad and also Saul, Bob Odenkirk is in the second one too.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Just watch both of them. Watch both Incredibles movies. I like them both. I like superheroes and I like wholesome stuff.
Good shit.
Good shit.